Hello, Divine Sunshiners. Stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste, Namago. Hello, this is Divine Sunshine coming to you very quickly. I thought I was going to be able to do the other one, but I won't be able to do that today. Just trying to do channel message. It was just saying to tell us that right now we're getting led to have a do-over right now. This is why these energies are coming along, especially the one that's coming up is the energies, there's a moon energy or coming up on the 17th. Being guided to understand it is saying that that's pretty much about the divine feminine and creating a new definition or defining the divine feminine energies on the 17th. Taking that in accountability and taking advantage of that to be able to, the divine feminine energies is within again. So what things maybe you might have been standing for, or really truly thinking that you might have a finger on the pulse about what's going on within yourself, you might find yourself redefining it again. Also understanding that we have these Mars direct energies as well, and I know a couple of us are still kind of like, oh my God, the Mars energies is, but we got to remember, what's Mars? Mars represents action, right? And in actions, some of us is not, this examination, as I said before, is coming along to help us, to push us to be able to take some form of action. As I've talked to many of friends and people that are kind of in relationships that kind of, you know, again, these energies are testing them. That's what's coming up. It's bringing out all that stuff again. I'm so funny. They was talking about the coffee pot again. Somebody brought up the analogy almost like that, and I was laughing at Kathy D. I was like, if she needs to have some money for that. But understanding that right now, again, these energies, you thinking that we're saying that, it's like, again, she said, it's like the coffee pot, the thing that's floating around, these little specks, things of that. Is getting rid of all of that stuff. And we have to remember again that with this Aries energy, what it's bringing to us is a real true understanding and definition of understanding that Aries means Mars, it means action going in there. So again, it's really making us to say, I mean, what is it that we have been sitting there dormant? And talking to friends, like I said before, it's some of them, and there's in these relationships that I've seen across the board, that, you know, the writing, and I said that in the divine masculine to divine feminine energies, the writing is on the wall about these things. The time is up. But we still keep on trying to find ways to kind of salvage, the kind of way to think about my dad. And I told you all one time about that analogy about that nose wiper things that he used to have, and Kleenex, and he used to wipe his nose, and he would never blow his nose, but he would take that one piece of paper and that Kleenex and fold that sucker 55 times, that one sheet of that one Kleenex. 55 ways he fold that sucker. Fold, till it just be a little small, little to try to get any of the things that was dripped from his drainage from his nose. And it's getting kind of like that with Dad. And to the point I used to say, like, dude, it's kind for you to throw that away and get you something else, because all you're doing is just recycling the germs with yourself. You're just re-exposing yourself. And so this is something that is, the universe is pushing, you know. Now some of them, I'm thinking, some of y'all done got the test and you done failed the examination, you done failed. They told you to go back there and study again, and now they're telling you, okay, now come back again so we can do this, and we're going to see if you're going to really choose what is really best and right for you. And I'm seeing again why, and I watched the video and I thought I was going to have time, but I'm going to have to kind of abbreviate it kind of short. I might do it later on. He explained in the video as to why we are at times exposed to, what time is it? It's 51. I know I could do it in 9 minutes. Hold on one second. Okay, so I had to come and I said, let me see if I can find the video and do it. So what I'm going to do is add this onto this video. Talks about why you are, some of us that are in these distorted relationships are in this continuous cycle and loop. that is stopping us from being, is stopping them, or this in those third party situations. No more mentioning about the karmic thing, because again, Benita said, and I believe Source stated that, and I'm going to honor that too. So sometimes they don't have to take you; it could use somebody else's that. Understanding that they're more of a karmic because it's used in a bad connotation, and we know that karma comes in good and bad, and it helps us to learn lessons. That we can be able to move into that dojo energy, which is to be able to find the way so you can move on and be divine, the true way, the true path, the true way, so you can become divine. So now, moving on into this. Now, this video that I'm about to show you is showing you how the divine masculine or divine feminine energies that are in those third party situations or relationships find themselves in this continuous loop. Number one, it explains how they got into it. Number two, it explains how they're perpetually staying in it and not finding themselves ways out of it. And that's why I'm saying about some of you all, Spirit has told you the writing is on the wall. It's time for you to get out, but you're not. You're still staying in it because, again, like I said, you failed the test. They gave you a thing showing you, they tested you to see you're still staying in it, but you're not moving. And that goes back to some of the readings I've already done with the Divine Master. Say, I gotta move, but I'm resentful that I've got to do it. So let's kind of look at the video, and I'll stop and put my 22 cents into it as well. So let's look. He's about to, in this video, is about to explain about how you can get rid of narcissistic. A lot of the divine feminines and divine masculines are in those distorted relationships because they are in the relationship with a narcissist or a covert narcissist too. Okay, so he's explaining that. He's giving
a massive narcissistic injury, no need, no contact. I'm sorry, no need, no reaction, no contact, right? See you later, narcissist. See you later, haters. You're going to have to go back to covert narcland, go back to the Empath Refuge, the professional victims channel, right? Now, how do we get a psychopath to leave us alone? What if we got a malignant narcissist? The malignant narcissist is what? A hybrid. She's like a hybrid, like the super empath is a hybrid narcissist slash empath slash psychopath. The malignant narcissist is a hybrid of a narcissist, has all the great qualities of a narcissist, and all the even better qualities of a psychopath. Let's say we're dealing with a malignant sadistic narcissist, the kind that actually has the courage to get up into my face, right? Or get up into anybody's face. They're not like the cowards on Quora who hide behind fake screen names, right? And then send their flying monkeys after me. Crush, crush, crush. My goodness.
Okay, so he's talking about there's other people on other channels that are trying to there's another one that's talking about these type of empaths. So Hyoka's empaths are called super empaths that have really higher powers to be able to they're really according to him really about justice, really making sure that that it really upsets them that they have that. He talks about that these type of super empaths also have like a darker side as well to them, which is, again, he's supposed, I won't misquote him, but in some ways it's like, it's just like Jesus going into the temple and he took the things that throwing over tables and things like that. Like, why are you in the house? How dare you defile the Father's house with this gambling and all this crap in there? Of course, more so Jesus being a light worker was an example, would be more, some other person be more Zen, more Buddha, like, but to them, that would be like a darker side. It would be like oh my God, Jesus is at you tearing up the place. So that would be another thing that would be also a showing of a other side to it, like a darker. It's not like a darker. I don't know if I like the term he's saying darker, but it's understanding that, like, hey, I can get upset. I can have a temper. There things that when it makes me mad that things are injustice is happening. Yes, it makes me mad. I won't sit up there and say that it's like, oh, let's sing kumbaya. So that's, again, like it's saying, he's saying that. And so the other channel that he's talking about, really talks about it in a way that they kind of bash him because he's talking about that other aspect. But you got to remember that he's not saying anything for him, because we must remember that angels also have two sides to them too. Archangel Michael has the nice light side and he has the dark side. So everything I told you in life has a light and a dark side to it. So again, he's not saying anything that's foreign. Again, but there's other channels that are bashing him for saying that. So you hear him kind of go into that mode as well. He also talks about, before he gets on to that, because myself and another spiritual, we had a conversation about him, said that to him he seems like he's a lot in his ego. Just a backstory about him and us being empathic, we are able to kind of go into him and seeing. With him, he tells you about his backstory, that is him in some ways, his childhood was less than stellar. That before he even gets on here and make these videos, he has panic attacks. So again, he has to have his ego. So what you're seeing is his ego kind of pumping him up and getting him to be able to get out that information there. And then you see him later on, and then the ego kind of steps away. And remember, again, ego is not a bad guy. I think about, like, even when I was small and my mom had a lot of times they wanted me to dance, which I could dance really good, but sometimes it's small. I used to, when I didn't know the people, I wouldn't dance. So my mom would be, I would call it like my hype man. She'd get out there and dance. Mom could dance. And then after I see her dance and I dance with her, she would dance with me. And then after a while, she would kind of taper off. And then before, they'd be hyping me up. And so then I could be able to dance on my own. I didn't need no hype man. So his ego is like that. It's like his hype man. You see him hyping him up, so he could be able to get that information out. I always think about what my mom said. Edit, some of you all might be triggered by the ego, but like my mom always told me, and that's a beautiful gift that she gave me, and she's giving me, that's what I'm saying, not present, is that minus the messenger and get the message, get the good stuff that he has in there, no matter how the delivery of it is, or how his ego is helping him to boost to be able to say that, because he'll tell you it throughout it. If you watch his video again and you like him, you see he's down here in the description. I have him, Empath Uprising. He's very good in the things that he's giving there, but he also says that he's also over exaggerating, acting in this grandiose style to let you know how a narcissist acts as well. But I think also that he does that because I think that's a way to be able to hype him, and him taking on, just like Beyonce. She takes on that thing about Sasha Fierce. You get Beyonce and Sasha Fierce is two different persons. She's very extremely confident as a entertainer, but when you talk to Beyonce, to herself, to me, she seems like she's kind of quiet. She's powerful, but she's quiet. She's like Kuan Yin kind of spirit. So again, we all have that kind of way in which to kind of push us through. So I'm gonna go back and let you listen to the rest here.
How do we get a psychopath to leave us alone? There's only one way that you get a psychopath to leave you alone, or one of the few, the rare narcissist that actually has a set between their legs. The way you get them to leave you alone is that you make a consequence that's grave enough to dissuade them from messing with you again, right? And whatever consequence that is, that's the only thing they respond to is power, man. Yeah, you flex on them, you show them that you're not gonna back down. I mean, narcissists are cowards and bullies, right? So, all you gotta do is give them a show of force that reminds them, that gives them sends a very clear message that to continue messing with me is a really bad idea, right? So I'm not going to go into particulars of that, but the way you get a psychopath to leave you alone is to make it clear that there's going to be consequences if they keep effing with you, right? Yeah. It's going to be like the consequences if those covert narcissists ever get courage enough to come say that stuff to my face sometime. Yeah, we know that's not going to happen. So let's talk about why didn't we, us super empaths, those of us with, we are like walking radar dishes, right? Especially those of us that are Heyokas. By the way, I've got another special message to channel to the Heyokas, so you guys are going to want to stick around for that. I'm going to be channeling a very special message that came to me while I was out of commission. And when I'm out of commission, by the way, those are the times where I'm in a state where I'm receiving messages to be able to channel to you. So even my out of commission downtimes are times where I'm stacking the arsenal to provide you guys with some massive value, right? Why didn't we see the damn narcopath coming? Why didn't we?
Now, he brings up a very valid point. A lot of times when readers are missing, it's very good that you see them take time off, because that helps them to recharge and rebuild their battery, and they're getting new downloads instead of you doing this, using it over and over again. Just like myself, it's always good to see them take that time out so they can come back refreshed, recharged, and with new energies. Now, from this point on, it's very important that you pay attention, because he's giving you at this point tips as to why you say, well, some of you, if you like my mom, say, well, why did your dad get caught up with this? Or why did the divine masculine get caught up with this person when it's clearly saying that they're no good? Why did the divine feminine get it caught up with that when it's clearly you can see that that person, the distorted partner that they chose, or this third party energy, or this karmic relationship that they've gotten into, which has a lot of lessons, good and bad. Why did they get themselves into it? He's going to explain to you why they kind of fell for the okie doke, or as I say again, they present themselves one way, and when they come in there, most of the time our divine counterparts feel like the rug has been pulled out. So
well,
let's
there is what I call a deadly trifecta that happens. We're going to take a look at the inside workings, the inner dynamics of the super empath, right? Super empath, super empath. What do we got? We've got the first of all, the inner child, the most integral part of an empath. This is the part that generates the empath's curiosity and charisma and lovingness and charm, right? Untouched, unadulterated charm. Inner critic, right? Our worst enemy. The narcissist, the narcopath, is the worst enemy on the professional victims channel, right? They're our worst nightmare. Oh my God, they're my worst nightmare. Yeah, that's the professional victim, all right? The covert narcissist that thinks that they're an empath. The covert narcissist that mistakes their hypersensitivity and hypervigilance for being a highly sensitive person. Inner critic, adult warrior, right? Stacy Stanford's got this one in spades, right? All the super empaths and Heyokas, we got this one in spades, right? But it's been laying dormant. For those of us who've got a long history of codependency like me, this thing had been laying dormant, right? We were doormats. We were conditioned to be doormats as children. So when the damn narcopath comes along, how does he manage to blind us? We've got these radar dishes for intuition. Our intuition the whole time is screaming at us, right? What are the three things that allow the damn narcopath to get under the radar and get under our skin, right? And let us fall for them, let us get all enmeshed with them. Well, it starts with the love bomb blitz, what I call the love bomb blitz. The narcopath blitzes. What did we say last week? Or a week and a half ago, when I was still alive? We said the only way that the narcopath can access you is through your inner child, right? So the love bomb blitz is designed specifically to do what? To penetrate into the inner child, to get into the wounds of the inner child. The inner child that had been invalidated, abused, neglected, never validated in childhood, never seen, never heard, right? Screaming out for validation, screaming out for approval, screaming out for, hey man, appreciate me for the person that I am, right? Don't make me have to perform or stand on my head to get some attention. The narcopath love bombs like a mofo. Love bomb blitz, right? What is that meant to do? It's meant to give you all the good stuff that you were denied in your childhood and that you were denied by all these other people. The narcopath says, you know what? I see your value, puts you up on the damn pedestal, tells you you're perfect, you have no flaws, right?
So this is the part in which I call it the kind of to get you in, the trap is laid by the distorted partner, or what we used to call AKA the karmic. They use those kind of ways because you say you want it. Their frequency is alike, just like ours is divine feminines and divine masculines. They match us. It's very hard for the divine counterpart to kind of be able to distinguish between the two. And so when you're coming from that place that he's talking about, you know, and us as being a mirror, we putting that hard truth in front of their face, and it gets them to the point it's like, well, do I want somebody telling me about myself, or do I want somebody that's telling me that I'm perfect, I'm loved, and they're saying something totally different than the way I had grew up? They're not hitting on that inner child stuff again. So of course, anybody, they're going to go for the one is the easy route. Everybody wants that, like the staple button. I want to hit the easy button. I don't want to go the hard way where I got to really look at myself and say, let me examine this person. This person is really finding ways to bring out great things out of me. And so this is, excuse me, somebody got released. They listened to this. So this is one of the ways in which really has the divine counterparts. Really, they are falling for the karmic trap because they're speaking their love language, which is at that point is really they like Sally feel they love me. They really truly love me. Unlike you, which they're saying they're always telling me about myself, they correcting me and saying, well, how about this way? And you're saying it lovingly, but again, they can't hear past that. They just like how I said with my mom and stuff, like she has a very critical mind. And a lot of times when I think and I hear her saying, I wasn't able to, like Kathy D helped me to see it a different way, April did, and Jupiter 11 did help me to understand that she's a person critical mind. Doesn't mean anything personal about me, but that's just something, again, she sees the flaws. And so that's something that I should take in to see more so of not a hindrance, but something to help. But when you're coming from that place and you have low self-esteem, you're not able to see that. And so that's where they come right in to save the day. Okay? All right, let me go on.
And you know, like us being fools that we are, we fall for the whole routine. We don't realize that the person's, what's up, T on MPD? T on MPD in relationships, we had an awesome live this Saturday. Anybody who hasn't checked that out, please get over there and check it out. Join us all on Thursday. Number one is the love bomb blitz, right? We don't see it because we're too busy basking in the glory of the idealization, standing on that pedestal with the sun raining down on us, right? Number two, the out of control inner critic. Now look, dude, your intuition doesn't just go away. It doesn't just stop screaming at you. Your intuition is still saying, hey, dude, something's not wrong about this situation. But what happened? Because us super empaths, us heyokas or whatever, were invalidated so much in childhood, that created, number one, toxic shame, and number two, self-doubt. We are riddled with self-doubt, right? Because our cluster B disordered parents or narcopath parents or whatever type parents, right, that invalidated us repeatedly, told us that what we were feeling wasn't happening, that we were crazy, it was gaslighting us from day one. We don't trust ourselves. We are mired in self-doubt, right? So even when the intuition screams, hey, dude, something's wrong here, we better slow this thing down. Your inner child, first of all, is too happy just basking in the glory of the narcopath's fake facsimile of unconditional love.
I've spoken about this on this channel. I did want to and said about could maybe the way that your parents had talked to you and told you, maybe that could be also karmic or something that was leading on to you, blocking you into union too as well. So I'm glad that he had backed that up as well, because again, that inner dialogue, although some of them have been voluntarily, involuntarily, that voice that is stopping you from really trusting instinctively about what is right and wrong, the parents have kind of contributed to that downfall, or them being able to have that, as they're showing me, that firewall to be put down for these distorted partners to come right over and to really pull the wool over your eyes. Okay, so let's continue.
The out of control inner critic is saying, no, there's nothing. What's happening? The outer inner critic that's taken over the introjects, the negative scripts of the invalidating parents, invalidates the inner child, invalidates the adult. It says, no, dude, there's nothing going on. Everything's, you can trust this. You can trust the narcopath. He's just like mommy and daddy, right? Yeah, that familiar feeling you get when you're around a narcopath, especially if you're a super empath. Yeah, that familiar feeling should, from now on, should tell you, hey, turn the other way and run, dude. Get the hell out of there. What's happening ain't legit. Something very fishy's happening here, right? So
it brings up a very valid point. If it feels really good, like too good to be true, then maybe it might be a little too good to be true. as far as that feeling of it's kind of going a little too smooth, like Jiffy's peanut butter. But trust your intuition, because your intuition is never wrong. It's not wrong. It's you putting in that. What I tell you, always ask for truth. Don't ask for just truth. Ask for divine truth, and it will reveal itself.
Number one, the love bomb blitz overwhelms the inner child. We don't want that. We don't want the good times to end. We don't want the honeymoon to end. And number two, the out of control inner critic that's telling us, hey, dude, what you're feeling isn't happening, right? It's just like being a kid again. Hey, don't worry about it. Everything's, the narcopath, the fake empath has everything under control, right? And number three, self-love deficit, right? All of us empaths, okay, growing up in cluster B disordered homes, we all have a vast deficit in self-love. And it's the self-love deficit disorder, what Ross Rosenberg calls self-love deficit disorder, or the codependency issue, that makes us ignore. Where's Anastasia at? Red flag after red flag after red flag. We ignore one red flag after another, right? Oh, I didn't see that. Red flag, I didn't see it. I'm going to make excuses for that. I'm going to pretend that. I'm going to take responsibility for that person's feelings, right? The entrained toxic codependent response kicks in, and we start ignoring red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag. So I get the question all the time, how did we not see?
And that's what I'm saying now from this channel message. The writing is on the wall for a lot of you all, as far as in these karmic or third-party situations. But you are giving excuses after excuses after excuses after excuses as to why you should stay in here. And that's why the divine masculine keeps energies that we have seen in readings historically up until now has shown that they keep staying on the fence, because again, as far as that action that needs to be taken outwardly, not inwardly. Inwardly, we've been changing, we've been shifting, we're taking introspection of things of that way. But when it's time for us to put pen to paper and start practicing what we actually preach, that's when we like, hold up, wait a minute, let me put some pimping in it. We start pimping ourselves back out to the distorted partner, and find all different kind of ways for them to use us and abuse us all over again. So, but let's listen to see what he said, why we
this person coming when we are empathic human beings who can see inside the neurology of other individuals, right? That's the one positive of having very porous boundaries, is you can feel inside of other people. You can pickpocket them psychically, which, you know, who says you should be doing that in the first place? Just because you have the ability to doesn't mean you should be doing it, doesn't mean we should be doing it. What do we need to do when we're in this situation next time? Number one, we need to hit the brakes and take it slow. Never again. The affirmation is never again are we going to deny or not listen to our inner critic. Why? Why will we never ignore our inner critic again? Why? Never doubt your intuition, because it's never wrong. What did we say last week? Intuition is never wrong, dude, especially if you're an empath, super empath, Hayoka especially. My goodness. Your intuition is never wrong. But those are the three reasons that we don't see the damn narcopath coming. Number one, the love bomb blitz overwhelms the inner child. It feels too good. We don't want it to stop, right? The honeymoon's never going to end, and the narcopath, of course, is future faking you, shallow Sal style. Number two, the out of control inner critic that's telling you what you're feeling isn't happening. No, intuition's all wrong. Don't worry about it. The narcopath's got you, right? He's got you. And number three, self-love deficit. And how are we going to fix that self-love deficit? What's our first step? What's our first step, guys? What kind of self-care are we going to implement? Defiant self-care. The defiant self-care starts with what? What did we say a couple weeks ago? Bulletproof boundaries, right? The first thing that needs to happen is the narcopath gets shut out. We hit the brakes and we say, hold on a second. Let's take a closer look at this situation, because if it feels too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Now, so I hope I covered that real well. That was one of the questions I was getting while I was out of commission, I was getting that question over and over and over. So I wanted to make sure that was real clear.
So I hope that helps you. So that's in any type of relationship. Remember that in karmic relationships means things that have to have lessons, especially if they're bad, and you're dealing with a lot of distorted people or distorted relationships. And remember, karma lessons can come in person, place, or thing. So if there's something that's a job that you feel and you're saying it's becoming a lesson, a bad lesson that you say, I refuse, I want to kind of get over with this, and it's examination time for you to check out of there. Your thing is that you need to check within yourself, seeing what things need to change, and then at that point practice defiant self-love. Like, okay, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to find ways to put my hard boundaries on this. And if they're not respecting that, then it's time for me to take my talents, skills, and abilities somewhere. And again, places. You got a place that you're living in. It's a lot of things. Your neighbors are not being very helpful, or the landlord is not understanding about what's going on and things of that nature. And you maybe got some very rude neighbors. And you're saying that, and that same thing had with me. I had people that was having parties to 1 and 2. I complained about that when I had a condo, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I done complained up to the wahoo. Ain't too much else I could do, so it's time for the move. And I started finding me someplace else to be. I said, okay, I see I've learned from this lesson here. This is a karmic lesson here, and what did I learn? Don't have nobody up above me, because I don't like that. They make too much noise, and plus that's too much energy. I didn't know how empathic and how spongy I was with my energies, that I picked up on everything. And so I was like, you know what I've learned from this experience is not for me to have anybody. If I'm gonna move, I need to have either a place by myself, or I'm gonna have to find me better neighbors, or soundproofing of the floors, or something like that. And so that's what you have to do. So again, he has stated and that same thing, relationships. And then after that, I had to practice what? Defiant self-love. I love myself enough that I'm not going to continue to keep myself into this mess. I'm going to find me another place for me to live. That's it. Relationships. I put my boundaries down. This person's not understanding it. They're still going on. They're still doing just like Maya Angelou. If the person shows you who they are, you must believe them, as she said. That's it. I've showed it several ways, and they still come the same way. It's time for me to get up and go. Okay? There's no other way of me doing like Dad. Take that tissue and folding it 55 times. That one tissue, Kleenex tissue, and I mean one Kleenex tissue or a paper towel, and folding that sucker 55 times. Knowing my nose is just going like a faucet, and all I'm doing is recontaminating the same germs to myself. In this situation, just really making myself to the point that, like my mom had told me, she said, well, that person keep on in that situation, they're going to find themselves being sick. Okay? You don't want it to become to that point, and that's outward expression that your body starts saying, I told you done nothing and we're still here. Okay, well, how about this? I start breaking down on you. How about I start having a heart attack? How about I start now, all of a sudden with your arm, you have all these kind of things, and things hurting and soreness and can't move and all this stuff, because your body is like, you're not paying attention. We told you, but now the body start taking over. So you've got to, again, at this point when it gets like that, this is times where you've got to go ahead and start listening and start doing what you need to do in order to start listening to what's writing on the wall, and now practicing defiant self-love at this point. Because I forgot it was something else I was about to say, but this is where you are. And this is where you need to, if it's important, bring it back to me, please, higher self. But this is where we are, especially when we're talking about in this thing. If it comes to me, it'll come, and I'll bring it back. But again, if we practicing that, so we really need to understand how to be able to do that at this point. And that's why they are, okay, he brought it back to me. And remember, when you're in these situations, you really to know that when you know it's time for you to check out, and you know you've got it and you're ready to go to the next level, when you look back at these distorted or these karmic relationships, or these lessons in which you have learned, and you look back and you see the lesson of why you were in that situation, then that's when you know you're ready to check out. Just like I know about, I said about the condo where I was living, and I was looking, I say, okay, what if I learn I can't be living with nobody over my head, and by that time it's time. So when you get to that point and you know, and I think somebody is another video, I thought it was going to be it, but I don't have time. So when you know that it's time for you to love, and it's time for you to go into another relationship, or whatever, it's time for you to be into the divine, or move on to another place, a new job, or whatever, or move on to your divine person, when you can look at it and stop looking at your karma situation, karmatic situation, or look at the distorted partner as the enemy and sleeping with the enemy, or enemy in the state, and you can actually look at them and say, I see why you were brought into my life, because you helped me to realize X, Y, and Z. Guess what? It's graduation time, and then it's time for you to go to the next level. All right, then, as always, I had to bring you that. I missed in the battle between Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle for you all, but I said I was going to start to do that, so I got the next part. So I will see you all next time. As always, stay, that's from the thing. Stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste, Namago. Love you.